What's going on, Internet? I'm Christopher Peterson from NerdEXP, and I'm here with
Guillermo,
Edgar, Drew,
and Alira.
And today we're going to go through this week's headlines.
Well, first of all, I think let's explain what you want to do with this podcast.
So every week we're going to break down this week's headlines and help you guys out with your nerd IQ. We're going to talk about a topic of the week to kind of get a discussion going. Love to hear back from you guys and just kind of push the agenda forward.
Yeah, I like it. So what are we thinking? This is going to be a weekly podcast? As weekly as we can make it.
As weekly as we can.
All right,
we're trying to come up with a better day than Friday.
It's weekly with two E's.
Weekly with two E's?
Instead of...
Not EA.
It's not week.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Fantastic. No, this is great. Sorry, Chris, to steal your thunder. Go for it.
No, you're fine. This is a conversational podcast. We can jump in and everybody can just say whatever they come up with.
Good.
So for headlines this week, we have the Supreme Court case against Aereo. Aereo is creating these little mini antennas that you can put on your television set, and then they are streaming broadcast television to consumers without paying any of the broadcast companies. So ABC is suing them because they're not getting any cut of the business. Aereo's claim is that they are sending these signals to private people and it's not a public broadcast. But ABC's claiming that because they're sending it out to thousands of people at the same time, that it is becoming a public broadcast.
I think Aereo doesn't have a leg to stand on in this. I think they are absolutely in the wrong. And I think that ABC is going to win.
So what's the difference between ABC broadcasting it and this Aereo guy's doing it? I mean, it's a public channel. I mean, right? Basic programming?
The difference is Aereo's getting paid a monthly fee. So they're getting paid just like a cable company, but cable companies pay ABC.
To get the content.
So this isn't a one-time fee like if you buy rabbit ears or you happen to live in the magic triangle where you can get signal from your local broadcast station.
Interesting.
So
what's the incentive of using an Aereo over an antenna?
it's like $10.
As opposed to paying for cable. But getting all access to those channels.
So you get all the cable channels too.
Cable channels, like more than just ABC, NBC, or... Do we know that?
I know that ABC is the one against the case, and I know that it's like all the local broadcast channels. I don't know for a fact if it's Cartoon Network, ESPN, and USA, and kind of getting into that realm.
See, that I think would be a problem if somebody does do that. But that's so to get it to the Supreme Court, it should have made it already through smaller courts. Where is Aereo based out of? I mean, is this an American company? Anyone know?
It's an American company. I know that Ohio said that it was illegal, and I think that they are appealing it. And Supreme Court's not even going to rule now until July. But they've heard both arguments. Now they're going to sit on it because, legal system moves pretty fast in this country.
And is it like broadcasted through internet? I guess that's how it is. I'm looking at it, and they have some channels in here. I mean, they got... It looks like it's all the local channels. It doesn't have... like the NBCs and everything. And I'm looking at the New York lineup. It looks like mainly NBC, CBS, ABC. So, I don't understand it. I guess, misinformed at the moment, but
I just wonder, why would you pay for the service if you could put an antenna on your TV and just go that route? Is it a stronger signal? Does it boost the signal?
I don't know if you can just get an antenna anymore.
Yeah, you can.
And it work?
Absolutely.
I have bunny ears on my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. If you
But
have
then
an older
again,
TV,
I don't
you have to buy
have
the
PBS
digital
Kids.
box.
I don't have PBS
Maybe
Kids.
this replaces that.
And I don't have Estrella TV.
Well,
I
I see the incentive maybe if it's like steady and this thing is always constant, because that's half the reason I got cable, because I wanted a steady transmission at all times. I didn't want bunny ears. Somebody steps in front of the TV and your signal's gone in the middle of the Oscars.
Well, I wonder if some of it comes from the fact that they don't track the people that are watching those channels. Then, if it goes back to how they are charging their
like the Nielsen
products and brands that are actually
the Nielsen
paying
ratings
on those channels.
That's right, ratings. How could they know ratings?
And not only that, it looks like you can record the television too, so you can actually skip through those commercials and stuff altogether. So that might really be what's driving the argument.
All right, we have 5 people here. What's our vote? Is it legal or illegal?
At this moment, I would say I don't see any illegality with it, so I'm going to say legal.
I would say screw the man.
Now I need more information.
I think the fact they get paid a monthly fee as opposed to antenna, they're providing a service, and they're kind of bypassing the middleman. So I am going to go with illegal.
I just feel like the consumer's being dumb in this instance. I don't know why I would pay for something that I could possibly just pay once for and be done with. Well, so I just feel like the onus is on the consumer a little bit in terms of paying for the service, but in terms of actually using somebody else's content and not providing any kickback or royalties on it, they're in the wrong, and I think they're going to get shut down.
Well, with Drew abstaining, we are a hung jury.
You want to know information, Drew? What's wrong with you? You want to look stuff up?
If we're up to me,
crazy.
Interesting.
No court cases.
Interesting. I think I was following the news, but I have not heard of this arrow.
Apparently, you don't follow anything because you don't know anything that's going on. You're like, what? There's a website where you can buy a whole bunch of stuff. Amazon.
What is that?
Speaking of Amazon,
number 2,
HBO is agreed to start streaming programs on Amazon. Everybody considers this a big win for Amazon over Netflix. HBO Go will still exist as it does today, but what this is opening Amazon up to is HBO's previous shows. But even then, they're kind of being selective. There's no Sex and the City, no Entourage. They said that shows like Veep and Silicon Valley would be on Amazon 3 years after their final season. With all of that, does anybody care?
All right, so the way I understand it also is that you get HBO on Amazon, so you don't have to be a cable subscriber on HBO. So then there's an incentive for cable subscribers, which it's a necessity, in order to use HBO Go, which has all of that. I think it has every season of Entourage, every season
has everything of everything.
Everything of everything. So I guess for somebody that's just interested on the newer shows, maybe that's an incentive.
I don't know. I think it hits Netflix where it hurts because a lot of the people that choose to go with Netflix are okay with watching seasons after they've already aired and waiting that time to get multiple seasons back to back. I think something that's going to make it difficult for them, though, is that they're not pulling over the big shows like Game of Thrones, which people are talking about now. So Amazon won't have that to go with, but that keeps it open for HBO Go to still have paid subscribers via both mechanisms. So it's definitely a win-win for HBO.
How many big shows does HBO have?
In the last 20 years?
No, now. If what do you watch on HBO? I don't watch anything on HBO other than the random episode, which right now it's Silicon Valley, but I don't watch anything on HBO, and I pay for the dang channel.
It's going to be all what do they air right now that's worth anything? True Detective, people love. Veep, Silicon Valley. I don't care for any of those shows.
What is Veep?
Veep is the vice president of the United States.
Oh, yes. Okay.
It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
We watched. Okay, I remember.
Apparently it's good.
Well, what's great about HBO and Amazon is that older episodes are normally available on DVD and Blu-rays, which are super expensive because it's high-end HBO. So how much is Amazon Prime a month?
It's $100 a year.
It's $100 a year? Okay. The entire Sopranos series is $100 at least. Yeah. So this is nice to be able to take your HBO, if you want to watch a Soprano episode or a quick the Wire episode. Yeah. Wink, Drew. I love this move. I love that the back catalogs are on Amazon. So what if they're old? You can make them new.
Not to mention free 2-day shipping. So.
Right. Free 2-day shipping anywhere in the world. Speaking of world,
I like it.
Oh no.
Hang on, though. Are we done with this? So let's think the tally here. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
I think it's a great thing.
So you say it's a great thing?
Yes.
All right. Drew, what do you think?
There's nothing negative. That is good.
There's nothing negative, so I would say it's ultimately good.
I think it's good as an Amazon subscriber. I'm good with it. But I think Netflix is going to be very sad.
I guess on a personal thing, I don't think it's a game changer at all.
What?
No, for me
Amazon is making a victory dance here, but I don't think it's a game changer.
Everybody here has HBO Go in this room, so it makes no difference to us.
Access to it.
Or access to it, that's right. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see the big fuzz, and that's fantastic. But again, on Netflix was invented to watch movies anyways. So
the amount of people that have Prime that don't already have Netflix, I'm sure, is very, very small.
Yeah. I mean,
it's definitely worth it having both.
I think it's good for Amazon just for the Fire TV that they have. I mean, this is their big push to try to sell their new product. that they now have HBO, which the majority of streaming devices don't. I think Roku is still waiting for HBO Go, right?
No, Roku has
Roku's
HBO
got it,
Go.
yeah.
Which one is the
first.
big one?
The
No,
big
they
one that
weren't.
doesn't have HBO Go?
The
It's the
first one-
PlayStation 4.
Everybody else, yeah.
PlayStation
PS4.
4 doesn't have it.
PlayStation 3 has it.
Nor
but
does the Wii
PlayStation
U.
4
I'll throw that out there.
Yes.
All 10 people with the Wii U are very
I
sad.
totally will
Sorry,
stream
Joe.
anything on the Wii U. Does it have dual screen experience?
Yeah, man. You can,
So you can tap the
on Netflix,
conversation?
you can turn on subtitles without backing out of the show.
Otherwise known as a remote control.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Otherwise known as just pressing the damn button.
And you can look at the cast on your gamepad while the show's still going on.
You have to charge the
There's
gamepad?
some cool stuff, and it is HD. So
All right. Well,
Thank you, Nintendo, for giving me an HD device.
finally.
It's so nice of them. Anyway.
All right. I guess next topic.
that would be Jurassic World.
Number 4.
Headlines today or this
Yeah.
week were just set photos, really. But
Have you
I
seen
can-
Safety's
I can
Not
say-
Guaranteed?
no, I have not.
No?
Have you seen what?
Negative.
Safety's Not Guaranteed.
What is it?
It's a movie.
Time travel.
The director is
Comedy.
directing Jurassic World.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a little indie movie.
Okay.
On
I haven't
Netflix.
seen it.
All
It's on
right.
Netflix right now.
Yes.
So-
Was at one point anyway.
So I guess the headline really this week, like you said, is the set photos.
Yeah.
3 set photos. One showing Bryce Dallas Howard and character, and she's just there looking
But what
inside
is
some
the
kind of
character?
facility. We don't know any
know.
details. Second picture is of a white truck that says construction, and it has the Jurassic Park logo.
And
and
it's
then the-
been damaged.
Indented, yeah. And then the third picture is what a picture of Hawaii, for lack of a better word.
With the director's chair.
With the
in the
director's
shot.
chair. Okay.
Or some cast member or a crew member or whatever.
Until I see a picture of Jeff Goldblum, I cannot care about this movie.
I feel where he's coming from with that. But I actually am excited about this. They do have a great cast.
Yeah, I think so.
It's already shaping up to be infinitely better than Jurassic Park 3.
I did not have a problem with Jurassic Park 3.
You like Tia Leone in that? She
I
was
like Jurassic
terrible.
Park 3 better than I like Jurassic Park 2.
No, I didn't agree there. No, I don't agree there. Wow.
Boo.
So I guess the cool thing that, and I'll point it out to you guys, is the pictures. All right, you look at them, it's like no big deal. But then Bryce Dallas Howard's wearing all white. I think right away, I'm like, she's gonna be the
John Hammond.
maybe she's
Descendant?
the hair is of the Hammond fortune, and she
Or
says
InGen, maybe.
or engine person, and then
I thought I got a scientist vibe from her look, though. I thought she might be a scientist.
Speaking of scientists, the guy that played the Asian scientist is coming back.
B.D. Wong is
so. That's a connection between the old universe
I don't
and
know.
this universe.
the only original cast member signed on, as far as I know.
I think that's going to be, I guess, the hard sell is how do you connect it to the begin, with the last couple movies.
Why do you have to connect it?
Because on the end of the third movie, you said you see pterodactyls just going away. Where did
But
the
they're like
pterodactyls
500
go?
miles off the coast of Costa
did the
Rica,
pterodactyls
right?
go?
100 miles, 500 miles, what was it?
Yeah,
100 miles, 50 miles off of Costa Rica?
I don't
Something
think
like
they
that?
said.
they were a
He
helicopter
just
right
owns an
away.
island off the coast.
They were a helicopter right away. So
I feel like the name kind of gives it away, though. I feel like that's the tie-in. You go from being
Yeah.
Jurassic Park to Jurassic World. I mean,
So they're all over the world, and so I guess the synopsis is now they brought back, and it's now another
I think.
theme park, right?
Yeah,
It's
they
like a
tried
theme
to
park.
open another park, like in the Lost World, on the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know.
Didn't they show a Blockbuster in that movie? Like some lady was like choosing a Blockbuster video and the T-Rex like comes by.
Yeah, Lost World. Yeah.
Lost World, San Diego.
So when was the last movie? 2007.
1.
2001.
wow.
Jurassic Park 3 was 2001.
Wow.
So that's 13
I
years.
am old.
Wait, that is
a
Jurassic
whole-
Park 3 was
Jurassic Park 3 was
2001?
2001.
Okay, you know what? This just got me excited, though, because think of how far we've come with, like, special effects and everything. So that
And,
was...
well, and
Yeah,
that
had
was
a
something
good
that was in the
Hang
news.
on, special effects isn't solving
Yeah.
anything.
That's true.
I mean, we all saw the prequels. Star Wars prequels. I mean, oh
Now
god.
they're using in the news this week. They announced they are using puppetry for the
Animatronic?
dinosaurs, animatronic dinosaurs, which
Nice.
is awesome. And I think if Spielberg is a producer on this movie, which I'm sure he is, I'd imagine it's
that's
something
his
to do
baby.
with that.
Why wouldn't he be
So,
in it?
yeah, he's in it. I'm confident. But I know he refused to direct The Lost World if they weren't going to use puppets, so they had to do that to get him on. So I know he's a big proponent of the puppets, animatronics.
How much more real can you make a dinosaur look? I think they achieved it in 1993.
Yeah.
1993.
Those special effects stand up today.
They achieved it.
Over a lot.
So,
over a lot of what's out there.
I don't know. I mean, they just had the dinosaur movie. What was it called? Was it a dinosaur movie or
Walking with
Tale?
Dinosaurs?
Walking with Dinosaurs, and they claimed
Land
the
Before
best looking dinosaurs. And I mean, they look animated. Jurassic Park made them look real. So yeah, I'm excited that they're doing the same thing. I don't know if what is it, 13 years or 10 years, 9 years, 13 years since the last movie, and I don't
by
know.
the time it's released, it will have been at least
Special
14
effects.
years.
Oh man.
So
You don't want to see
it's not
dinosaurs
coming
in
out till
3D?
next year.
Dinosaurs in 3D, excited about it. Unfortunately, not excited about being,
This
the
film,
3D
though,
technology.
part of the reason I'm excited is not being filmed in 3D. It's being filmed on 35 millimeter, and they're also using
IMAX camera.
IMAX cameras, 65 millimeter, I believe. So, and I'm a huge proponent of IMAX, real IMAX.
Okay.
I will travel hundreds of miles to see that if I have to.
Where's the nearest one? Isn't it like Orlando?
What
I
nearest
think there's one in
Like
Daytona,
the truest IMAX, the one that Drew makes
nearest one to us
pilgrimage
is Orlando International Drive. It's the
Regal?
biggest one in the state of Florida.
The Regal one.
It is a Regal, yes.
There you go.
Do you get free tickets?
I do.
To the IMAX.
Yeah.
Dude, we just need to start going there more often.
I probably
I'm not
wouldn't
gonna
be
drive
able
down to
get into
Orlando
a
to
premiere,
watch
though.
Days of Future Past.
Why not? For a free? Why not? I mean, what is it?
Well, Drew can only get one person in.
That's
There
true.
you
Yeah.
go. You just
Who do
need
you
to-
love more, Drew?
Well,
That's right. We need more Drews in this world.
Probably get a seat.
$13 saved.
All right.
Well, hang on. I mean, the Jurassic World, I feel was unnecessary. Like this should not have happened. Not unless you're planning to do another trilogy.
Well, I think they are. They've talked about rebooting and starting
They
a
like
new
money.
series. They're not.
Plus Universal.
So far, they're
I mean,
not following the same story at all. It's all new.
Universal as a studio is looking for. I mean, that's what Universal is. Big franchise movies.
When's the last time you saw The Mummy?
When was the last time I saw The Mummy?
Yeah.
They're rebooting the Mummy
pretty
too.
common,
They're
though.
rebooting.
They're rebooting The Mummy?
No, they're not.
They're trying to do a more classic monster feel with it, though. They're not.
Yeah, the movie. The
How did
Mummy
I Frankenstein
monster.
do? God, that was...
That came out with Aaron
Did you see it?
It came out in January.
Oh man.
It has the same producers of
Here and gone.
Underworld.
Underworld.
Well, Steven Summers
Looked just
wasn't
like it.
involved.
Steven
So,
Summers was involved. Okay.
so there you go.
Fine. All right.
So
They want to sell toy dinosaurs. That's what they're excited about.
I'm for it. I'm completely
Who
for
doesn't want
Jurassic
the alternate
World.
alternate color velociraptors?
Any movie filmed in IMAX, I'm there opening night,
Okay.
and I.
Did you
Jurassic
watch
Park's
Resident
one of the-
Evil?
one of the
Did
greatest
you watch
films ever
Resident
made.
Evil?
They didn't use IMAX cameras, dude. That was 3D. They used 3D
Which looked
cameras.
good. I remember watching it. It looked really good. So I'm okay with that.
I never saw. I haven't seen anything since Resident Evil
Yeah, the,
3.
the
Gotcha.
production values are not the problem with any of these movies.
Okay. So we said about the cast for this Jurassic World. Chris Pratt again? What did
Chris
it?
Pratt, yeah, he's the lead.
What did he
and
do?
Bryce
Where
Dallas
did he
Howard.
come from?
He came out of the OC, man. Like,
OC?
the OC, yes. He was.
Like, was he a big
He was
character?
Summer's boyfriend when she went to college.
All right, explain to me.
That's all.
Was
I
he a
heard.
big character?
That's all I remember.
And then he was in Everwood.
His breakout is definitely Parks and Rec, though, by far. I think.
Where he plays a
he's-
comedic. I mean, is it a comedic role?
Yeah, he's definitely comedic on that. He plays an idiot. So this will be different for him. Well, I mean, it's going to be more like Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess. That'll be his first action, but he has done serious. He was in Moneyball. Was one of the baseball
He
players.
was in
Holy
Hurt
crap!
Locker.
That's right. He was the pitcher,
Was he
or
in
the
Hurt
pitcher
Locker?
turned shortstop. Wow.
I think
No,
he was in
no,
Hurt
he
Locker.
was in
something
he
with
was
Zero
in
Dark
that
30.
movie.
Yeah,
Zero
Zero
Dark
Dark
30.
30. Zero Dark 30.
Zero
Yeah.
Dark 30. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
in
that's
it.
another series one they did, but he wasn't on screen much in that or Moneyball. So, but I mean, he can do drama, I think, and we're about to see him in an action movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. So
Yeah.
And I think most of us are excited for that.
Yeah, I think so. I don't
it's
see
an
where
August movie.
Yeah, I still don't see where he came from.
Chris Pratt's my favorite character plays my favorite character on Parks and Rec.
Okay.
I think he rivals most fans' favorite Ron. So.
Okay. Interesting. Good.
All right.
Yeah.
Jurassic World.
He's a great actor, I think.
2015, right?
As of right now, yeah.
How long did it take to film that movie? You're adding in after everything, After Effects.
Well, they're working on it now, so it won't.
And they're going to Hawaii. There was one announcement.
What's the last movie you filmed? How long do you know?
I don't know, man. Kevin Smith shot a movie in less than in under 2 weeks.
They've already started.
And it looks like it.
Batman and Superman, and
why wouldn't you
delayed
drag
that
it out
to
if you were
2016.
filming in Hawaii?
That is true, but the incentives are not that great in Hawaii here, so I don't know. So Jurassic World, excited or not? I'm excited.
I'll go in there with cautious optimism.
Yes, I am excited.
I mean, I'll watch it. I just don't know enough right this second to care either way.
I didn't know it was coming out. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I loved Jurassic Park as a kid.
There you go.
It had a ton of the toys and swag, the Jeeps, the Gates, all the dinos. So bring it on.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised, Drew, that you don't want to do the Jurassic Park Ford Explorer instead of the Billy the Ranger
The
truck.
Blue Ranger. Well, that's because I don't know. The Blue Ranger is my own creation, sort of. So
That's okay. That's
Koopa.
That's
there you go.
That's another discussion.
Yeah. People are confused.
So something else in the news, being that I used to work for Apple, was Apple announced that they made a whole bunch of money, and what they're doing is that they're letting more people buy stock, which is a 7-for-1 stock split. Back in 2005 or 2007, they had a 2-to-1 stock split, which asked more people to buy. So I guess this is a big deal because they're investing about $130 billion of their cash to let more people buy. The antithesis to this is Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's company, that instead of stock splitting, they're just high. Their stock prices are higher because less people own their stock. So I guess this is a big deal in the news, is that Apple makes a whole bunch of money still. They're beating forecasts, like Wall Street forecasting. And honestly, I can't wait for WWDC, which is in June, to see if they do any improvements to iOS 8, to see if they announce new iPads, to see if they announce maybe a new Mac OS 10, which was Mavericks last year, and maybe introducing new MacBook Airs. I know I'm running the whole gamut, but I feel like they're really going to introduce a new Mac OS 10, maybe new MacBook Airs. I've heard that there were Retinas in there. So that's just my corner, the Apple corner, is that we made a whole bunch of money, or they made a whole bunch of money in the second quarter. They're looking to help people invest more.
Do you think that is coming off of the criticism that they were keeping a lot of their money off American soil to keep from paying taxes, and so they're looking to establish some goodwill again by providing more stocks to people here at home?
I mean, that was a big discussion because their main taxes go through Dublin, Ireland, which means that Apple isn't necessarily an American company, but it's nice for Apple, since Steve Jobs died, to get more stocks in there so that more people can buy. We'll see.
So the stock price is roughly $5.25. So this will make it $75 a share, which some analysts call the sweet spot. You want to keep your stock at between 10 and 100. So that way it's not too low, but it's not too high, so people can come in and invest and that's what Apple's hoping, that it will start to churn more.
So what happens if I own the $500 stock of Apple? What happens?
You would own one $525. Now you own $775. So it ends up being the same. Your value doesn't change.
Okay. Who gets to vote on this? I mean, does Apple, as the chair of directors or the board of directors, they say we're splitting again? Or
they don't ask shareholders. Yeah, I mean, it's the board of directors or CEO. I don't know exactly how they're structured who makes the call, but it's definitely higher ups.
I don't know the specifics.
Has anybody else made that move?
This is unprecedented. Nobody's ever done a 7-for-1. 2-for-1s are common, 3-for-1s, 4-for-1s have happened, but this is the first 7-for-1 stock split.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but we'll see what happens. I mean, Apple's been sitting on that cash pile for the longest time. So yeah, so that's the update with Apple.
Interesting. I guess I can, as long as they bring me a new iPhone really soon, and
or what? What's wrong with your iPhone?
I don't know. Before long, they give enough updates, and I'm sure it's going to be out of memory, and it's going to be the slowest thing, in the world. So.
Delete the song you never listened to.
What songs? Can you play songs too? As long as they keep bringing Apple quality products, and they just don't, now that they, I guess, bringing in more cash, which means that, I guess if more people come in there, I feel like there's going to be more pressure on the company to try to deliver, and
it just makes me wonder if they have a new product up their sleeve, if they're looking to do another revolutionary release like they did with the iPad and the iPod and the iPhone.
What can it be, though? I mean,
I don't know.
A watch? I mean, I'm not going to be revolutionized by a watch.
Were you going to be revolutionized by a phone?
Well,
it's going to be the iHome, I think.
The iHome?
A Google Glass competitor? I mean, I don't know. Apple's notorious for getting stuff leaked, though. But, I mean, maybe they're keeping stuff under their hat for once.
Yeah, that's...
As we speak, I'm giving Alan, my younger brother, technical support because his home button is stuck.
On his iPhone?
On his iPhone. His iPhone 5C.
iPhone stock's dropping right now. Home button's breaking. Home market's crashing.
Well, at least there's an Apple store. I mean,
that's
you can go to the Google store.
That's the 5C instead of paying for the...
That's right, the Fisher Price version of the iPhone.
It's for the colorful.
That's right, because you need the color.
That's what a case is for.
That's right. Well...
Closing comments, Edgar?
No?
Happy about it?
All right.
Apple's still rich.
Apple's still rich, and we're not.
They're not Microsoft.
So if you have $100 right now, do you go buy Apple stock?
Are we really giving financial news, like investment news?
I'm just interested.
Go buy.
You wanted to talk about it.
You got $100. Do you go invest in Apple?
What is my $100 investment?
No, I would invest in Tesla.
Yeah, that's another one. I don't know. I whether it's 500, 100, I guess. I'm still not. Maybe it's just personal interest, but I'm not gonna run to the stores to buy me some stock. So.
You can't run to the store and buy yourself some stock. Oh my god!
Walmart doesn't sell it.
Where's your stock aisle? Do you have any bonds? I forget things about those.
It can happen.
What?
See, there it is. The next story. Apple should create that store. The stock store.
iStock.
iStock. Ooh.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
iBank.
iBank.
So, since we were on the topic earlier of Jurassic Park being filmed in Hawaii, a big deal is recently Carlton Cuse, which was an executive producer with Damon Lindelof, was quoted in an interview saying that Lost may in fact be rebooted.
We have to go back.
Thanks, Jack. So the Lost reboot, I feel, would be wonderful because I love Lost, and what a better way to get the mythology back. When Lost premiered and when the subsequent seasons, I had to look up a whole bunch of stuff, like who Desmond Hume was, I had to look up who John Locke was. It was nice to actually do research. So having Lost back in my life would be wonderful.
Too soon. That is the problem with that series. I mean, usually you relaunch and reboot to the next generation. Everyone who cared to watch Lost is still alive, and it's still going to be the same kind of audience they're going to attract with the new Lost. I don't see it. I hope they really, somebody just makes a decision at this point and says, too soon. We'll shelve it. It was great. You're right. I mean, doing homework to watch a TV show
was cool.
It was stressful. I mean, that show was just stressful to watch. But
Lost was lightning in a bottle. And, people loved it, especially those first couple seasons, and it tailed off. And I don't know what creative team would be able to do this again and capture the nation. And I know that, ABC and the networks are constantly searching for the next Lost. And, you see it with, Flash Forward, the 4400, the event. They're trying to create these mysteries. So ABC's screw it. We're just going to make The Lost again. But I don't think it'll work out. I think that, we even have our topic of the week, getting ahead of ourselves, is worst sequels and reboots. This would probably end up falling into that category when somebody does try and create it. You can't go home again. And so, going to this, you'll be disappointed. It won't be the show that you fell in love with.
No, it's too soon. I don't think you can reboot the same idea.
But you would watch it, though. You would watch a Lost reboot.
Yeah, because it's a Lost reboot, but as soon as, the same John Locke character shows up, I'm like, I'm done. You know
what? I think Lost paved the way for a lot of the comic book movies, and I say that because all of the things that happen within Lost are things that are classic, like, comic book archetypes.
Absolutely.
J.J.
Abrams.
Right.
That's J.J. Abrams' masterpiece.
J.J. Abrams was involved for like 2 episodes, and then he turned it over to Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof.
He's the creator.
Big
every
mistake.
episode still had J.J. Abrams on every episode. He got credited and he got paid. The finale, if I'm not mistaken, was J.J. Abrams.
No.
It was
probably Damon Lindelof.
What
do you mean a big mistake? You don't like Damon Lindelof? You don't like what he did with Prometheus?
No.
I don't like Lost.
You don't like Lost at all?
Was pretty disappointing.
I mean, he says that wasn't his fault.
I can't say too much about Lost. When it was on, I was pretty anti-television. I'm just now in the past year getting into TV and trying to catch up on a lot. So, I saw 2 episodes of Lost maybe. First of all, I was confused, and it was just kind of too much network television for me. Kind of cheesy, overdramatic.
I just wonder how much, especially for people, I didn't watch Lost either, how confusing it's going to be when they do the reboot. Are they going to bring in new fans, or are they just going to go after previous fans that they had before? Because it is not a show that you can just jump in and watch. You have to go back and rewatch previous seasons. Yeah. And that's one of the other illusions to the comic book industry. Like, you can't always just jump into a comic book story and feel like you know what's going on.
We were talking pre-recording when this first came out, and Edgar, another show's getting rebooted by NBC, Heroes Reborn, and Edgar was like, "Oh, I can't believe they're doing that," but then he gets excited for Lost. I don't think either should get rebooted, but I think it takes more guts to reboot a show that failed and was hated and trying to turn it into something good than taking a beloved show and rebooting it again. I feel like ABC is just going for an easy cash grab and trying to cash in on an IP that already existed and did well.
Okay, well, let's bring back Firefly.
I thought they
or Arrested Development. Oh, they did. They tried.
They're making a movie
so
of
bad.
Firefly.
Arrested Development wasn't bad. I liked it.
You haven't rewatched it.
That's a rumor that's coming out.
Firefly. I rewatched a lot though.
Yeah, and then you got the guy. I mean, he's went on to do bigger and better things, and so he's gonna get his Firefly movie made.
Serenity 2 is coming out right after Ghostbusters 3, Bill and Ted 3, Groundhog Day 2, and every other movie that's been in development hell.
Maybe. Not excited at all about this Lost reboot. I think it should, somebody should just knock some sense into these guys and say, no, not yet. I just don't see it.
Similar to Jurassic World, though, Gremlins 3, in reference to Gremlins 3, Joe Dante said he wouldn't direct it if they didn't use animatronics. So, and Joe Dante, he did the first 2.
Huh. Wasn't that
I don't know if he said Gremlins 3. I thought I heard Gremlins 3.
Nobody said Gremlins 3.
That's one that's been in development hell for 15 years or so.
Development hell,
20
Ghostbusters.
Years. Yeah, well, I mean that's the big one for sure.
Yeah, that's the one movie that I don't think it will ever get made.
The actor that played Igor died, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the Egon.
Sorry.
Igor's the Hunchback. And he also wrote the movie, the screenplay.
Yeah, he wrote
right.
So
both or just the first?
I know the first for a fact. I'd have to look
Did
up.
he write it?
Yeah, he was part of the writing team.
Harold Ramis. Well, it's written
Maybe
by
story.
Bill Murray, though.
Bill Murray doesn't write anything.
Yeah,
He just ad-libs his lines and gets a writing credit.
Yeah, I'm sure he had something to do.
Well,
with
look it up and come back to us.
Okay.
So,
Lost.
So Lost reboot, I give a thumbs up just because I love Lost. So I am totally biased. I enjoy Lost.
Completely unbiased. I have no opinion on whatsoever.
I'm not going to watch it either way. So I hope it's made for Eddie's sake.
Yeah.
Good luck, Eddie.
Oh
yeah. Well, here it is. Writers Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis.
Who doesn't get writing credit these days?
And one more credit. Let's let it load. And Rick Moranis, uncredited.
Heck yeah, dude.
He probably wrote his part because no one wanted to see Rick Moranis in the Ghostbusters, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'll write myself in real quick."
Rick Moranis, I read, came up with a story for a Spaceballs sequel, and it was direct to a third film. It was called Spaceballs 3: The Search for Spaceballs 2. And I thought they definitely should have gone ahead with that, but they did a cartoon instead, and I heard that was pretty bad.
Didn't even hear about it.
Yeah, there's a cartoon.
Interesting. Well, talking about, I guess, leading into the next topic, reboots and whatnot. I guess what's the next headline?
So in news this week, we find out that Ray Fisher. Don't worry, if you haven't heard of him, no one has. A theater actor has been chosen as Cyborg for the new Man of Steel sequel, and I don't know anything about this guy. I actually looked him up, and all I heard was football player stuff, and it was definitely not that guy. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see
not the how
this turns out.
To me, first sign that this movie is running out of money. You go after big actors, big names, and then you go after Ray Fisher.
I mean, he's a theater actor, but I didn't even think about it from that angle. But that makes sense.
Running out of money. I think we're done with the.
Wait,
I was reading that.
I don't know. You say
stage actors though.
I was gonna say like stage actors are really good.
Very well.
On money wise.
Well, I mean, of course he's cheap, but
yeah.
Cyborg's not going to be headlining a movie.
Did you see his play? I didn't.
No, and it'll be interesting how they integrate him. I mean, to me, I think they're going to integrate Cyborg as the character, and they're going to, kind of feed in with, what his parents used to do and the inventions that they made and whatnot. Because that's, I guess, the backstory of Cyborg. Parents make inventions. They save the kid by making him a cyborg, half machine, so half robot or half human, half machine, and I don't know. I guess it leads to the Man of Steel, or not, to Batman versus Superman, or Superman versus Batman, however they're calling it.
This whole kind of Superman foray has just made me really sad. I really wanted to see DC come together and pull together a Justice League movie, and I feel like this is their step in that direction. And I feel like they've just botched it. I don't think they did a great job with Man of Steel. I'm not excited about this sequel, and I really think that they're trying to do too much in one movie, and it's all disjointed.
I think they're going reverse Avengers. Avengers introduced Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, brought them together. I think that they are trying to turn Man of Steel 2 into a jumping off point for a full Justice League movie or a Wonder Woman spinoff. And, every rumor we hear is The Rock is cast in this movie. They're looking for a Nightwing. They're looking for an Aquaman. So, it's just going to be too much, and, it's going to be potentially weighed down.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think this casting just made me less excited about this movie. I think overall it's just... In
defense of stage actors, Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart ended up being a phenomenal actor in movies. And we also have Tinian from Game of Thrones, who is fantastic, and he also came from the stage. So I don't think that there's anything necessarily against him.
Hugh Jackman.
Ian McKellen?
When cast in X-Men was just a Broadway star. Never heard of. So... Edgar's laughing at my voice cracking, by the way.
Everyone heard it, don't you worry.
Yeah. Welcome to puberty, Drew.
I don't think he's the downfall, I guess, of this sequel. I feel like there were lots of other things that were important for downfall. That.
I completely agree. Zack Snyder, is he doing it? I mean, I don't know if he's involved with casting his movie, but I don't agree with any of it. I was excited about Affleck, Batman Batfleck, fantastic. I was excited about it. Just because I know Affleck appreciates comic books, he's going to bring comic book back life to the character, Bruce Wayne, fantastic. But then you start, bringing everybody else, and it's like they're trying to prove a point. Like, you're expecting me to cast, the typical Lex Luthor. He's got to be bald.
Oh, that's right. Jesse Eisenberg is in this movie too. No, damn! I just remembered that.
It's like you're challenging everything, and then the rumor that the Rock has
Joaquin Phoenix.
The Rock has something to do with this thing, and likely is going to be maybe a Green Lantern Rock.
Gal Gadot, or however you pronounce her name, from Fast and Furious fame, is Wonder Woman. Skinniest Wonder Woman ever.
That's right.
But The Rock will make up for that.
That's right. They'll always be on screen together.
I will say, despite all of the grumblings and not being super excited about this movie, I'm definitely still going to go see it. That's so
You're right. So, opening night for me, absolutely. As much as I'm going to hate it, opening night for me.
I'm hopeful, actually. I mean,
when are we going to see a trailer? Next summer, I think?
The movie comes out in 2016.
That's right.
It's 2014.
On the 4th of Captain America Day, right?
At best, there will be a teaser with nothing but voices or something this winter.
On what? What's
how far ahead? The Dark Knight, The Hobbit.
The Hobbit. I guess you can do it there.
3,
Well, I guess they gotta figure out the cast fairly soon if they're ever gonna make this movie.
I feel like this is a bizarre Wes Anderson movie. Every single person we know in Wes Anderson universe is in the Grand Budapest Hotel, and then every single actor that we know is going to be in Man of Steel sequel. It's just a reverse Wes Anderson movie.
All right, so something that's just bouncing in my head is, do you think they're just gonna throw all the fans for they're gonna throw everybody a curveball, and they're gonna all of a sudden say, oh, we're renaming this movie. It's called the Justice League of America. Boom, you got served. No longer a Superman movie, and that's what they're doing, and they're just gonna roll with it.
I would say
maybe.
I would say no, because people have already looked at that online, and people make that joke constantly, and they keep saying no. And I know everybody around this table knows the Justice League name, but I think if you get Man on the Street, they'll know Superman, they'll know Batman, they won't know Justice League. I know you can make the same argument about Avengers, but they did have Nick Fury snippets throughout all the movies saying hey, we're forming a team called the Avengers. Hey guys, you hear about the Avengers Initiative?
Well,
so they laid those seeds.
Iron Man really before the movie.
I never heard of Thor.
Yeah, but they built up that cachet over time. I mean, Marvel had a plan and they executed it flawlessly.
They still
DC
are.
is falling all over themselves with all of their.
I don't think they're gonna switch it to Justice League, because they're definitely gonna want to draw it out.
Yeah,
for financial reasons at least.
But this does springboard into Justice League. This movie, next movie, is a Justice League movie.
So this movie bombs. Is there a freaking Justice
This movie's
League?
not going to bomb. It's too big to.
Man of Steel
was
third highest grossing movie of the summer.
The Titanic was too big to fail. What happened to it?
It became the highest grossing movie of all time until Avatar came out.
I feel like it's too big. It's not going to fail.
Yeah.
There's no bomb at all. They did it again.
any Superman movie is going to make its money. I mean, I can't imagine. Even Superman Returns, which was critically panned, made its money back. So I can't imagine.
As someone who doesn't read the comics, so that was actually pretty cool. The piano scene, I liked it.
What's there to like? There's a kid?
Yeah,
what?
It was pretty cool.
A Superman kid? I don't know.
With asthma?
I mean, upon further reading after the movie about the whole rape scenario and whatnot, that's pretty.
So that's the timing?
I don't know. Just because, why wouldn't she remember ever sleeping with Superman?
Because he kissed her and he made her forget. Yeah. Not because he raped her.
Or no, well, I guess not
what
because he
theory
raped
are
her.
We talking about
No, she should suspect he raped her. Is what I'm saying. If she didn't remember it, that's what I'm saying.
Whoa, this is the first time I heard this thing.
It's meant to be funny. It's not a serious.
Interesting. They never explain how it happens, but I guess it happens.
Eddie?
Well, when a man loves a woman,
Eddie's favorite hero is Superman. So
yeah. So all right, excited about this
cast. Dying in his chair right now.
This new cast, yes, no. I think that this thing is not heading into the direction I want to see it. So no.
Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, Hollywood.
I want to see
Hollywood
footage first.
Yeah.
Yeah, too soon to tell.
Everyone always goes to Heath Ledger being cast as a Joker, and what the heck? Then you see it, and you're like,
That's true. It was a transformative role for him.
So Definitely got to see some stuff first.
Eisenberg getting
Lex Luthor.
Will he shave his head? That's what I want to know.
I was excited about that. I thought that was
Is he playing a young Lex Luthor? Or?
I don't know, but they're casting 60-year-olds to play Superman and Batman. So I don't know. I don't know. That's the odd part about that whole deal. So, well, I guess that's the odd one. I don't know. I'm not excited. What do you think, Chris?
I mean, Ray Fisher. I don't know anything about him, so I don't know.
Who?
Casting aspersions.
Bobby Fischer. That's a great movie. He's searching for Bobby Fischer.
So I hope he does a great job in the role. Cyborg being in this movie as a character, I think is too much. Even if he is just Victor Stone, and Superman tosses a building on him, and that's what causes him to have to go all robotic, and then that sets up Justice League. We're just dealing with potentially too many characters, and I don't think that Zack Snyder has the chops to pull it off.
You know what DC did do, or what they did with this announcement is, at least we're talking about it. Possibly because no one knows who Ray Fisher is.
Who?
So good job to them.
Or Cyborg.
I didn't even know who Cyborg was. I thought Cyborg was a bad guy.
Do you not watch Teen Titans?
No,
What is wrong
I don't
with
watch
you?
Teen Titans.
Booyah!
I thought Cyborg was a bad guy, and I'm like, great. Now they're casting another Cyborg.
So who's the bad guy?
Lex Luthor.
Is he? I don't know, man. I don't think he's gonna
Or
be
Batman.
the bad guy.
That's why it's
I don't know
Superman.
if he's gonna be the bad guy. So,
All right.
Move on. Next to the weekly topic, Chris. What's the weekly topic?
Topic of the week. This topic comes straight from Guillermo. We have, what are the worst and best movie sequels? And for points of this conversation, we're going to include reboots, prequels, spin-offs, anything besides the original.
I totally missed that we were including prequels.
Does that change your answer?
No, that's overdone.
And we're gonna, I guess, stick to movies.
Yeah, we're going to stick to movies.
Yeah,
This
we'll
week.
Stick to that this week. I guess round the room. Go ahead, Chris. Start with your own.
My number one best sequel came out recently. I'm going to go with Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I think
Great
that
choice.
this
Great choice.
elevated the entire Captain America franchise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was just a spy movie that happened to have the Captain America paint on it, and they did a great job with that. I love everything about this, the casting, the characters, and the pacing of this movie. It was great from beginning to end.
You stole my answer.
That's great. No, that's great. So best, I guess that would be a sequel. So yeah, first Captain America, no problem with it. I thought they did a great job, and then now the second one, outstanding. I did, same thing that I felt with the first Captain America was at some point I felt, all right, this movie's dragging a bit too long. This movie seems a bit too long for the superhero movie Marvel that it is. I felt the same exact thing in Marvel in Captain America 2. So I thought they just dragged a little bit. So that's the only thing I got to knock on it. But as a sequel, great.
I think it's really interesting that you say that, though, because, he's a man out of time, and I feel like he's from, a time before, and things were done, more slowly and, at a different pace. So, I don't know. Maybe they're tapping into the synergy with that character with that.
I think for the first Captain America, the best scene was the 3-minute montage where they completely destroy Hydra. Spoilers. But... and then they rushed everything else. But I feel like in this one, from beginning to end, everything has a purpose. It sets the tone. It introduces characters in almost an organic way, and kind of push everything forward. And even the smaller, quieter scenes in the beginning set the tone and character of Steve Rogers and his kind of mindset as he is right now working with S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think they did a great job.
On your left.
On your left.
Nice one. Falcon, best part about that movie for me.
I think they did a great job with that character, and I was really worried about it. I just thought it was going to be too much or over the top, and he fit in perfectly. He was a great addition.
Great casting. Just another knock it out of the park for Marvel.
We talk about kind of Man of Steel 2 having too many characters. Captain America had a lot of characters. Nick Fury, Black Widow, Maria Hill, Captain America, and a lot of villains on the other side, a lot of supporting characters. But they were able to balance it. If Warner Brothers is taking notes, they will take a similar approach and, have these other people where they cast be smaller roles and just give them, quick character arcs.
Yeah, but how can you make Wonder Woman a small character?
Look at the comic books; they've been doing it for years.
I see your point, but she is part. I mean, she is the the big woman in the comic book world for DC and for everything.
I'm really hoping that they get her right finally, because it hasn't happened live action yet.
Okay.
So I would say that's definitely my favorite sequel.
And this is I'm going back to the directors. I'm just looking up
the Russo brothers.
Russo brothers.
Pop.
Yumi and Dupree.
In Community, like they came out of nowhere.
Man.
And they did an amazing job. They've already been given Captain America 3. I think they were given it before it even aired because Marvel knew that this was a guaranteed success and that they created a quality product.
Incredible. No, that's great. That's great. I no disagreements for that one.
They have a hand in writing it too.
I don't know. Did they have a hand in writing this one?
Because I feel the direction necessarily wasn't the strong point for the film. It was the story.
Okay, they had nothing.
I mean, the direction is always more important than you notice, but I think what people talk about is the story.
I like the cinematography.
Actually, I really like the action sequence. I feel like they did a really great job of the choreography, and what they did with the shield was really phenomenal too. It was really interesting to see them take a defensive weapon and make it aggressive and an actual attack feature for Captain America.
I like it. What about you?
I was going to say the Winter
same
Soldier,
one.
but
Right.
We'll say my take two then, and it's actually probably going to be a little surprising, but I really liked Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, and I think that it was a fantastic sequel, and it's actually my favorite Indiana Jones movie, which is also not the norm, but I thought it was fantastic. So
could not agree with you more on that one. I think as a kid watching that is the best intro movie to Indiana Jones. As you grow up, then you go and move on and watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then you grow older and then you watch The Last Crusade. That's the sequentially that's how the movies take place. So if you ever want to watch Indiana Jones and you want to watch him in sequence, you should watch Temple of Doom, then Raiders, then Temple of Doom.
No. Twice?
Last Crusade, I'm sorry.
It's that good.
It's context.
Sure.
Context.
That's right.
So it's an infinite loop. You watch
That's right.
you watch Temple of Doom.
Rinse and repeat.
And then you watch
Rinse
Raiders of
and
the
repeat.
Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, so that you'll never get to Crystal Skull.
Woo! You got there.
So you never get there.
I'm glad we're covering the worst ones.
I don't know. I really like Short Round. I think they did a great job with the characters in that movie. I think it's a really fun sequence, and it just brings back great memories. Definitely think just fabulous movie all around.
I have nothing bad to say about Temple of Doom whatsoever. It's a great movie. If I had to rank the Indiana Jones out of the original trilogy, I think it's the weakest. But that's like saying like a 9.9, a 9.8, and then like a 9 flats. So it's still a great movie. I just think that Raiders and Last Crusade did it better.
Point taken. Good, Drew. What do you got?
That's out of order. But I guess I don't want to be last.
I'm
either,
sorry,
so
they can't see where you're sitting.
I think not putting too much time into my thinking. Last minute choice would be Dark Knight, The Dark Knight. Sorry, I think it's not even one of my favorite movies of all time, really. But like when Batman Begins came out in 2005, I was like, oh, another Batman movie. I went to see it with my girlfriend at the time because she liked Christian Bale. I was like, all right, fine, and I was blown away. Didn't think they would be able to do a better movie when Dark Knight came out. Even off the trailer, I was like, yeah, that looks good. I was blown away. I think he took it to a whole new level. Far exceeded my expectations, which is rare in sequels, especially if I'm excited for it. So, yeah, right. I think that's maybe my favorite sequel.
And the soundtrack.
Yes, excellent soundtrack.
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
Well, I think Batman Begins soundtrack is better, to be honest.
Hans Zimmer, right? Everything is Hans Zimmer?
It's Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard.
Oh, okay.
For the first two.
Okay.
And you know James Newton Howard when you hear the strings, because that's what he's known for.
And then Hans Zimmer if it sounds like pirates. Gotcha.
There you go.
So if
or
it starts
Gladiator.
sounding, or Gladiator and everything. If it starts sounding like everything else, it's a Hans Zimmer soundtrack.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I can't knock it at all. At all.
Dark Knight was my second pick when we were originally going to do 2, and I remember walking out of the theater, and I was like, I think this might be my favorite movie of all time. Like, that was my gut reaction on Lead. Everything was great.
On my list as well.
When you talk about, like, especially first watching a film, everything's perfect about that movie. Pacing, character, tone, and just, Joker coming in and just kind of being more of a force of nature than anything else, and everything just culminates and it works extremely well.
Yeah. I agree.
It's funny, I've always thought of Batman as being like a darker character, and I feel like they did a really good job of diving into that with that movie. It was not comic booky, it was really a serious, dramatic action, and I love that.
Great Batman, yeah. What do you got on it?
I really liked the Joker. I liked Two-Face, like the devolution of Two-Face and how like Joker wanted to turn that White Knight into the into an anti-hero, and everyone was trying to push Harvey Dent to the edge, and like he was supposed to be Gotham's White Knight, and then they sullied him because they like brought out the true nature of his of his psyche. And I really liked the fact that there was a theme of escalation and everything, where first it started off as the Joker just dealing with the mob, and then it dealt with like him blowing up hospitals and him trying to blow up ferry boats. And that was my favorite part, is that it got, like, the action or the consequences got more severe during the movie.
Anything bad on that movie for anybody?
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh,
she looked old.
Absolutely. They did a terrible job with her.
Okay, so that's good.
I would have liked to have Katie Holmes back.
Yeah, she was dealing with some issues.
Just for continuity, really.
Yeah.
Over anything.
It was just really jarring to go from Katie Holmes to Gyllenhaal.
And Maggie Gyllenhaal is a better actress, than Katie Holmes overall.
And she just looked bad in that movie. I don't know what it was, because she's looked okay in other things, and she just, I don't know. It was not a great look for her in that movie at all.
She really didn't have any moment to shine either, except interrogating the Chinese guy. Really.
So spoilers on that movie, she dies, right?
She
Thank
did.
God.
It came out 4 years ago.
Thank God she
that
does.
blew me away in theaters. I was
movie.
like, I can't believe they did that. And then, they genuinely fooled me that they killed Commissioner Gordon when he came back.
Agreed.
I was like, what the heck? Oh my God. That movie was great.
I agree. I mean,
blown away twice in one movie.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. What do you got? What's your...
Well, mine seems stupid now because I said Mighty Ducks 2.
Mighty Ducks, I like it.
Because everyone,
the Goodwill Games.
The Mighty Ducks 2 was so good because you take Gordon Bombay and then you totally destroy him, and then they have to build up Coach Bombay again because he's been hanging out with the Iceland kids. He treated them all badly because they lost. He was trying to get the hold of all the world people coming in.
So D2 Mighty Ducks, not the
I'm
Ducks
sorry,
2.
I said the Mighty Ducks 2.
That's right, and D2.
Just to back up Edgar, he does have D2 written down.
So. All right, that's
I'm sorry.
a good thing.
I'm sorry, no one knows what I'm talking about because I didn't get the title right.
Yeah, these movies, Disney around the I guess early 90s, they had the formula for the perfect sports kid movie. They had so many great ones around that same time. They had Big Green.
Big Green was really
Big
good.
Green.
Yeah.
At the same time, you had The Sandlot, which was not Disney, but you had that. You had Rookie of the Year. So you had all these sports movies, which to any audience, they're not bad movies.
No, I love D2.
Entertaining as anything. D2, every time
D2
it's
was
on
so
TV.
much fun, especially when they came out of the second half of the last game against Iceland. And
The Knuckle Puck?
The Knuckle Puck?
No, it wasn't Knuckle Puck. It's when they came out with their new uniforms. The second half of the
Anaheim Duck uniforms?
Yes. That was so cool. I thought that was awesome.
I remember, I don't know how old I was when that came out.
94.
94. Okay, I was 8 years old. I saw it in theaters with my brother. He went to the bathroom. And while he was in the bathroom, the bully guy, I don't remember his name.
Reed.
Fulton
Reed.
He did the slam hit or whatever, and the opposing guy caught it. And that, as an 8-year-old, I was like, holy crap. And then when my brother came back, I was like, he caught it, he missed it. Yeah, that was awesome.
So you got to see that in the movie theater?
Yeah, I did. On the
you
Navy
guys did?
base. I remember it was
Chewie
like
the
$2.
cat? Julie the cat, the goaltender.
That's right.
I actually did see that in theaters, and it's really surprising that Mighty Ducks made me care about hockey. And as a Florida girl who's never been exposed to like hockey in real life, that's not a big deal.
That's right. They didn't worry about icing and offside or whatever it's in hockey, and have no idea about hockey.
Of course they cared about it. It's a real hockey game.
I agree, but the
flag B is an illegal formation.
The great thing about these movies is they didn't try to explain the sport. It's like hockey. You gotta go. Get the puck in the goal, done. They didn't worry about it. So that was the great part, and I think it goes with the formula. They made a soccer movie. They didn't worry about offsides and yellow cards and red cards. They did not worry about that. They just said, goal, soccer ball, in.
What movie was this?
Big Green.
I mean, the D2 did not care about rules. I remember they had the goalie switch at one point.
Oh, that's right. They changed the uniform.
You can't do that uniform. And you don't take your helmet off and all of a sudden they're allowed to shoot from one end to the other.
That's definitely for the camera.
I remember the Spanish dude, Jesse Mendoza. He couldn't stop. Right. He could never stop, that poor kid.
From Miami, Florida.
Yes.
And then it was the cowboy. I didn't look this up before he came over here, by the way. D2 was on my list. I should have looked it up. But
Keenan Thompson?
Yes.
Dude.
Street hockey.
They were the street hockey. That's right. When they were in LA, they wore their tie-dye shirts.
Puck.
I love the bizarro characters for each one.
Yeah, it's great.
They all have
the great soundtrack to the 90s.
Matching.
And talk about escalation. You take this small Milwaukee team that just barely etched out the Hawks.
Milwaukee?
Minnesota.
Sorry.
Man. It began with an M. Minnesota.
You got to get the state right and the name right.
and then you take that team and you're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put them in the Junior Olympics. And we're going to get 4 random other Americans, and they're going to represent the entire nation. And everybody cares. Everybody loves hockey. Hockey is the most important thing in the world.
I can't knock it at all.
Coach Bombay, man.
And then where do they go from there? They play in college. It's like
D3, that's right.
World? We gotta play against the college team.
Alright, well,
I feel like Mighty Ducks has the best trilogy. Mighty Ducks is the best trilogy out there. Because D3 is a solid movie too.
Yeah, reboot them.
When they have to play
I don't think
I've seen D3 either.
In college, the freshmen play
It's not. Hang on. It's not college. It's high school. They're in high school.
That's even worse.
That's right.
Because they have to play the varsity team. They have to play varsity team, and the cowboy ropes one of the varsity people. Do you remember that? And then Charlie Conway loses his captain because
Adam Banks goes to play in the varsity team.
Yeah,
and all the rest of the JV, go to the JV, and then he switches at the end. It's a great movie.
Yeah,
highly recommended. It happened.
Right.
Did that even go to theaters?
I went to theaters.
To give it a little bit of testament, in my experience on that movie, I didn't watch that movie until I was about 14. So it definitely wasn't, the young kid movie. I didn't watch it until I was, an early teenager.
So me going in at 29 is not going to be a big deal.
No. I like I said, it comes on TV. I'm watching that thing. It's that good. No, I think it's a great one.
Mighty Ducks is a classic.
Classic.
I'm gonna go out and buy the Blu-ray now.
What do you?
If it's even on Blu-ray.
It's actually pretty dark. The original Mighty Ducks is because Gordon Bombay was driving drunk and they caught him, and he was a big lawyer and he lost being a lawyer and he had to go do community service because he was DUIing. He had a DUI.
Personally, the first one is my favorite.
Child.
And what is it? What's the first thing he does? He drives a limo on the ice, endangering all those children's lives.
It was a great time for sports movies.
D2, I think, starts with him playing League D hockey, and he gets injured again.
That's right.
Yep.
His knee.
His knee. Coach Bombay. All right, so that was my favorite movie. Was D2.
What do you got? What do you got first, Gamer?
For a good movie here, I think you guys have said some of the ones I had written down, and I'll mention this. I think Back to the Future Part 2 makes a great sequel. But the one that I really want to mention here is, I think, something that, in my opinion, had not been made very well in the past. It was an animated movie that had a great sequel. Shrek 2, outstanding, knocked it out of the park. Shrek 2. That's right.
Yeah, he's right.
I saw Shrek 2 in theaters 5 times.
Exactly. You cannot go wrong. Great soundtrack.
Also,
great comeback.
Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots. You cannot. For me, that movie was a great sequel. They didn't waste any time.
All cat
I see you shaking your head.
What are your counterpoints?
Yeah, talk to me. What's going on there?
I didn't like Shrek 2 at all. Like Shrek 2 was that good in my opinion.
Do you like Shrek?
No, I don't like Shrek at all. Like the whole Eddie Murphy as a donkey thing, was it funny? The whole shtick
Waffles? Come on, man.
I
really
didn't like
only
Shrek
liked
3
Puss in
or
Boots.
Shrek 4 or Puss in Boots.
I'll agree with all that, but Shrek 2 is the best in that series. Like, they are literally laugh out loud moments, not just like, yeah, that's kind of amusing and funny. Like, that is a amusing movie pretty much the entire time.
How can you not like Puss in Boots?
Yeah.
That's messed
He
up.
started cat memes.
I mean, great use of soundtrack. I think for me, being musically inclined, I thought that
hang
movie...
on. Shrek 2 is the one with Justin... No, wait.
No, that's
It's the
Shrek
Prince.
the Third.
That's Shrek 3.
Shrek the Third.
Shrek 2 is when they go to Hollywood?
They go to
Far, far away.
Where Fiona turns into the Shrek.
That's all of them.
First movie.
Hang on. Shrek turns into a dude, right?
Yes.
I still don't like it.
And the fairy godmother.
Oh, it's where Puss in Boots gets like arrested in like this cops kind of scenario.
That's right. It's only
And
catnip.
he's like, it's not mine, right?
It's only
Yeah.
catnip. That's right.
Are you turning around?
Not mine.
No.
It was so great. When so much good integration with a soundtrack, which is a big part for that movie.
2004.
One of my favorite songs is I Need a Hero, and I think they did a fantastic job with
Fantastic.
that.
Put it in
the
C
movie.
minor. I mean, that was a perfect line. Put it in C minor. Changes by David Bowie. Great song from the get-go, and they used it so well in this movie. I mean, it's such an epic song. Plus, I think that whole series has had a big band, I guess, defining I guess the soundtrack, the Eels. The Eels have made such a good sound to that whole soundtrack. Enough that I think the best part about Shrek the Third was the soundtrack, because the Eels did the entire thing. Yeah, well,
Barracuda?
Well, yeah, like Fergie.
Ew.
So, again, I don't think, and right off the top of your head, can you think of any animated sequel that...
Toy Story 2?
All right.
And 3.
All right, no.
The
Pops
Pops
given. Yeah.
Animated.
Non-Disney animated movie. Even Disney did not get
It's
it right.
going
People
to
don't
be
consider
it.
the
Pixar.
second How to Train Your Dragon. That's what it's going to be, but it's not out yet.
Pixar got it right. Disney did not get it right. The sequel.
Didn't Red Riding Hood come out with a sequel?
The Hoodwink.
Hoodwink 2?
Hoodwink 2?
Hood versus Evil?
Oh, no.
We saw that on Netflix. It is not worth your time.
Don't go there.
I was trying to guess what everybody would maybe come up with.
Uh-huh.
I was not thinking Shrek 2 would be on anybody's list, but I think that is a great addition.
Yeah. I think it's a great honorable mention for a sequel.
Going to the other end of the spectrum,
Go for it.
going to worst sequels. This might not literally be the worst sequel, but the first movie was so high, and this one brought me down so low, and I was so upset with everything they did in it. I'm going to go with Pirates of the Caribbean 2.
Ooh.
Dead Man's
Dead Man's
Some
Chest.
lovers here.
I feel like the first movie was almost like almost like a buddy cop movie. Like you had Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom teaming up and trying to work together, but also trying to best each other at the same time and pull one off. And then you end up with Dead Man's Chest, where all of a sudden everybody loves Jack Sparrow. Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley are defending him left and right. She's in love with him for no apparent reason, and everybody's characters completely off. And then to end it all, it ends in a cliffhanger, so you don't even get a full movie. And even decisions made in the last 5 minutes are changed 5 minutes later. She leaves him on the boat, but then she's like, "Oh, I feel guilty about it." So, Dead Man's Chest ruined that entire franchise.
I like the entire franchise, so
I considered.
I find them all amusing. They're not all as good as the next one, but I didn't have a problem.
Black Pearl, definitely the best, and then it just goes downhill from there.
It's definitely down for each movie consecutively, but I love Dead Man's Chest. I think it's one of my favorite sequels. I do, and I love the cliffhanger ending. That's really the reason that I love it. I think.
Soundtrack.
So the whole movie's bad.
It goes to soundtrack.
No, I don't think any of the movie's bad.
It goes to soundtrack again. That movie, the great use of the same themes because it was a Hans Zimmer. This was Hans Zimmer taking over for Klaus Vidal, who did the music for the first movie. Klaus Vidal, made the sound for that movie, and then Hans Zimmer. It's like, all right, what's Hans Zimmer gonna do? He did exactly what he needed to do, which was let's not touch it at all, and let's add a little bit of horns here and
organ.
Let's add an organ, and I think David Jones and the Kraken, outstanding parts integrated with the movie. I can see how you can hate it, but I think I wouldn't call that a worst sequel. It's just not me. What do you think, Vinny?
You're missing on Stranger Tides and
World's End.
World's End.
At World's End, all right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There is a World's End. It's something else.
What do you got for us?
I didn't like Batman Returns, so that's on my worst sequels. I really, really hated that movie. Actually, I found it pretty disgusting. I hated the Penguin character. I didn't like Catwoman. I just thought it was a terrible, terrible movie.
Billy D. Williams was Harvey Dent.
In Batman 1.
He was in the first
He was not
one.
in Returns.
Oh.
I agree with you. Those Tim Burton movies, especially after the Nolan trilogy, do not hold up. I mean, when they first came out, everybody was like, oh, they're so dark and gritty. It's bringing comic books into the real world. But they are over the top and silly. The Christmas scene, everything with Christopher Walken in it, and, Michelle Pfeiffer's 9 Lives. I can respect this decision.
I actually saw Batman Begins before I saw Tim Burton's Batman. And and yeah, so like I was never into Tim Burton's Batman. I thought it was hard to get through. I was spoiled by Christopher Nolan, I think.
I think it's really interesting. Like, I like Tim Burton, a lot of his properties, but that just was not one that did it for me.
Big Fish.
No.
So.
Big Fish is one of my favorites.
That's right. All right. What else you got?
Your dog?
Me? All right. Well. There are two that I dislike pretty equally, and it's really not that I think they're the worst movies ever, but they spawned off of two of my favorite franchises.
Here comes the prequels.
No, not prequels.
Ooh.
No, I'm leaving prequels out of this. I wasn't prepared for that. X-Men 3 and Jurassic Park 3.
Ooh.
I think they just ruined the franchises for me. As someone who read both Jurassic Park books, I noticed in Jurassic Park 3 what they were trying to do, and that was the movie The Lost World was basically not the book. Like, so many things were changed. The focus of the book was not there. So with Jurassic Park 3, they were trying to take the message of the Lost World book and make a film out of it. But they spent maybe 5 minutes on story in Jurassic Park 3, and the rest was just a chase movie, I thought. And then X-Men 3, I think. X-Men, the finale of X-Men 2 was like one of my favorite movie-going experiences ever. Like, I literally screamed when I saw the Phoenix in the water at the end, and X-Men 3 was just a travesty.
And the crazy thing is, they have to live with that.
Yeah.
X-Men 3, they have to live
canon.
with it. It's canon. I mean, Wolverine brings it up.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past is going to be time travel. I don't think it's going to be canon much
Either.
longer.
They're going to erase it.
Yeah, they're going to reboot that franchise.
Because I'm not a comic book reader, but I did the only thing I ever followed related to comic books was the X-Men animated series, and I knew a little bit about Phoenix and Dark Phoenix, so I was very disappointed in that. And X-Men 1 and 2, as good as I think they are, like, they did not do Cyclops justice, but then X-Men 3 just took it to the next level, and they
Gambit
killed him.
And
he's in Origins.
Okay,
but yeah, he's missed. They
I
didn't
thought
get him right.
They didn't introduce. They did no. All right.
Yeah, there's no Gambit. No, they had Pyro, and I thought he was cool.
And Psylocke.
I don't even remember him in
Like
X-Men 3.
So that's exactly. This is what's wrong with that movie is the fact that you don't even remember what was in it.
I remember Angel jumping out of a window and Beast doing a sidekick in the air, and that's about it.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
And the Juggernaut line. That's
However,
right.
X-Men 3, the one redeeming factor, or two minor redeeming factors for me, which are nowhere near enough to save the movie, are the last shot of Magneto moving the chess piece, and then it's an immediate cut there. I thought that was a great ending. And in the post-credit sequence, it was my first post-credits experience, and I didn't see it coming, and I really liked what they did there.
Remind me what it was.
It was Moira, the scientist, and she was mentioned earlier in the movie too, which is cool. She walks into a room, and there's like a comatose guy there that she's been taking care of, I guess, and then he rolls over and he says her name, and she just goes, Charles, and then it cuts. So,
earlier in the movie,
it's how Xavier came back.
That's right, as a younger guy, right? Or as a different person.
Someone with no consciousness. And like earlier in the movie, Xavier references that. He's like talking to his students about it and the studies that are being done in it and stuff.
So maybe they got something right.
So how does he look like Patrick Stewart? By the time Days of Future Past,
this guy was like some bearded...
Can you break my legs and alter my face? I gotta...
Yeah, they're going to have a time with that, but I'm still really excited for Days of Future Past. I liked First Class all right, but I don't hold it highly. And, Wolverine was decent. Origins, I'll never ever watch again. So.
Okay.
Jurassic Park 3. The thing that bothered me the most was like we've done the T-Rex twice. Right. We need to do something scarier and bigger, but it's going to do everything the T-Rex does, and so it really means nothing. And let's also put a phone in its mouth so that way we'll hear its cell phone ring constantly throughout the movie. And that was so ridiculous.
But I feel like it played off one of those things. Like, you remember that ringtone? It was an annoying
I
ringtone.
still
You will never. Our generation will never forget the sound of that ringtone, and I feel like that was kind of a humorous insertion into the film.
I think our generation will be the only ones who remember ringtones.
That's probably true.
It's not a song. It's not a ringtone.
All right.
Very true. Very true.
Bad movie.
I hated G.I. Joe 2.
Oof.
What is it called? Retaliation?
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I agree. Good point.
Not only did they reshoot that damn thing, it was still terrible. Like, we killed off Channing Tatum too early. Let's reshoot it. But then you could obviously tell that they reshot it because at the beginning
I thought that was never confirmed, but that was only ever rumors.
Listen, if you go back and reshoot, as a kid who grew up playing with G.I. Joes and G.I. Joe animated series and the action figures and everything, the main character was Duke. You cannot kill the main character in the movie. You cannot do it. It was just so poorly done in this. So poorly done in this movie, killing the main character.
And you like Billy Zane. You like Billy Zane, don't you?
Sure.
I mean, and he was this stupid dictator who plays Angry Birds when he's launching missiles. The worst part is that they got Angry Birds in there when he's launching. All the world's leaders meet in Charleston, South Carolina.
Bruce Willis in that movie. Why? Joe.
How does Rock lift up a tank-sized gun?
Have you seen The Rock? I believe Dwayne Johnson can lift up a tank-sized gun.
That was so bad. Hang on. Like, there's this one part. There's this one part where they're like in this ghetto neighborhood, and everyone knows The Rock, and then they're like, "Hey, you want to come into this gym that has all this audio visual equipment, so you can communicate with." Oh, and then the president, like underneath the bunker, and then like the dude cloned himself or like put in the face to be the president. That was stupid.
So bad I haven't even seen it.
I was gonna say everything that you've mentioned makes me feel so validated and never even taking a stab at it. And I loved G.I. Joe as a kid.
The first one, all right. So first one did very well. I mean, it was a Stephen Sommers film. I liked it. I thought the cameo by Brendan Fraser was like outstanding. I'm so happy about this.
Did you like the Brendan Fraser cameo and like anything? Like the nut job?
Stephen Sommers, director of The Mummy, one of my favorite movies, brings back a main character just to bring him back. Fantastic. I thought that was great. They got it right. I mean, they had a good basis. It wasn't the greatest movie in the world, but they had a good basis to build on. And this second movie just takes that and then says, I didn't like it. Let's destroy it in the first 20 minutes of the movie. And then I'm really going to ramble and create a whole new cast that weren't that big of a deal in the,
I feel like both movies could have been titled something else. Like they had nothing to do with G.I. Joe.
The Rise of Cobra and Retaliation.
What I guess except for Cobra, like his helmet or whatever, that's the only thing that I saw that looked anything like the cartoons. But of course, I didn't watch the movies. So.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know. Like, as soon as I found out that Channing Tatum was going to be in the first movie, that did it for me. Like, I was not interested at all. Because he's in all of those weepy, horrible romance films that I just can't stand and stomach.
At that point, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, what's Channing Tatum being
I
considered
know, like,
for now?
It's different now. But that's where he got his breakout, I feel like, more than anything. I don't know.
What if the sequel had accelerators? What does it accelerate? You. Would that have redeemed it?
Terrible movie.
No redeeming qualities.
So bad.
The only thing that saved it is that it had an ending and credits, and then it was done. It was terrible. I paid my cash to go see that movie.
We went to go see it with Juan.
That's right. We paid to go see that movie. It was very regretful. Very regretful.
Ugh.
Wasted time. No, great one.
I wasn't happy
on
with
to
it.
you.
That's the worst one ever.
I don't think this is gonna shock anybody. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I had that written down too.
Talk
The
about
monkeys.
the monkeys.
Talk about a disaster of a movie. Or a movie that there's no way you can mess it up. Bring Indiana Jones, give him a whip. You got everything right. You got the opening scene is fantastic. You got people flipping in the beginning. Fantastic. You're introducing the bad guy. Great. And then we get to the first point, a refrigerator. The guy survives a nuclear attack on a refrigerator. It is Indiana Jones. It is not possible. Unless he had a cockpit inside that refrigerator, it's not possible. Again, I don't watch, my movies to believe everything, but problem number one. Great. You bring a guy, a new character, Shia LaBeouf. I'm okay with the casting. I went in this movie, I blocked myself out of any kind of media attention and everything. I did not read anything on it because, it's one of my favorite franchises. So, go in this blind, I have no idea. All right, here's Mud Williams. I'm like, all right, this guy's going to be the sidekick of this movie. I get it. And then they start and then they find the skull and it looks like a freaking alien. I'm like, well, it looks like a freaking alien. I hope they don't do aliens. And it just goes from that point on. As soon as they find the alien head, it goes on a downhill for me. They go to the jungle. All of a sudden, Marianne Ravenwood is there. And I'm like, holy crap, they brought her back. Fantastic. Which I knew. That didn't surprise me that they brought her back. But then the shocker of the movie, Mud Williams, he's your son. I'm like, whoa, what? You made that little wimpy kid your son? No, that's terrible.
Superman Returns is the exact same thing. Like they took like this wimpy little kid and made him Superman's son.
And
terrible.
I feel
he
like
wasn't a wimp.
They tried to do a parallel because in Crusade, Indiana, we discovered that was the name of the dog.
That's right.
And Mutt's a dog's name. So see,
he's
just like his dad.
It didn't hit me until later. Again, a movie that
George Lucas's specialty.
Again, this was to me, it felt like, if they would have gone anywhere close to an ocean, I'm sure we would have seen a gigantic shark and it would have been Jaws. This seemed to me like the Steven Spielberg greatest hits movie. Let's do everything that has worked in the past and let's just put it in one movie. The end, it's like, I just blanked out.
The monkeys.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Think about the monkeys.
I'll get to the monkeys. Don't you
was
worry.
so
I gotta
bad.
hate on this thing. Close Encounters. At the end, it's like the same aliens. I'm like, whoa, it was just worse. And then, I tolerated the movie throughout the whole part until, ants. I didn't have a problem with the gigantic ants eating people. I really didn't. I was like,
I didn't either.
Tolerating.
That was believable, surprisingly.
Tolerating, right. Terrible special effects, but it was I was able to tolerate it. And then we get to the scene where they're in the jungle and then Mud Williams is, Tarzan now. And then he gets a troop of monkeys to follow him. And the monkey takes, he does his hair just like Mud. I'm like, I'm done. You cannot. At that point, it's like at that point they look at each other and the little monkey just takes, I don't know if he takes a cum or anything because that would have been just terrible. But he does his hair. Terrible. I've waited, my young adult life for this movie to come out, and terrible disappointment.
Tell everyone what your screen name was for
IJ4 is Coming was established in 1998 when I got my AIM account. IJ4 is Coming, and I waited until May 22nd. 2008 to finally say, all right, I'm retiring it. And as a protest to that movie, my screen name is still the same dang thing. IJ4 is Coming. It never happened for me. I get in a movie that just, I wish it got made, and to me, it's terrible.
And what did you wear to the midnight show?
I wore an entire outfit. I wore my fedora, my jacket. I had a whip. I had everything for this movie. At the end, I was ashamed to say I was wearing Indiana Jones. That movie killed it for me. Done. Worst sequel.
I mean, there were definitely parts of that movie that were disappointing. Very disappointing. But the aliens weren't the thing that killed it for me. Like, it was definitely the CGI and Shia LaBeouf in general.
I was okay with the aliens until they just randomly threw in the fact that they were from another dimension.
Oh,
like, they're interdimensional beings. So, like, what? Why couldn't they just be from outer space? Like, that they I mean...
That was very Stargate.
Like,
yeah, terrible movie. I don't get it. I didn't get it.
William Hurt wasted...
Everybody.
He was a bumbling old guy.
Right.
That's right.
That apparently this means.
I was so excited about him being in it, and
you didn't think they wasted Kate Blanchett? Like they totally wasted her.
I thought she did a good job, like as far as acting goes, but the character was stupid. She was a good sport, I guess.
If you throw money at anything, they really tried, Drew.
She's good, no. And I thought she was attractive in that movie, to be honest. That was the first time I ever found her attractive. So.
Nope.
The part that lost me, Memo, was when they're like going through the jungle and they started fencing.
In between two cars.
In between two cars.
That is a very Indiana Jones thing to have happen, though. Like, that happens in sequences. Not, like, the fencing. But think about, like, the Last Crusade, like, on the tank, all of that stuff. Like,
when it's in front of a green screen, it just doesn't play off as well.
And then,
it does look like it's in front of a green
screen. They were going pretty darn
terrible.
fast through a jungle. That whole fighting scene is about a minute and a half long. Let's say they were going, 20 miles per hour. This was a dang freaking long jungle. And they just kept chopping trees, and the trees always fell away from them. Not a single one came and hit them. Movie was just a movie that they made just to make it. It wasn't, it just, even great ones can mess it up.
Well, the good news is that as part of his negotiation to be in Episode 7, Harrison Ford wants to do an Indiana Jones 5. So maybe they'll have a chance to redeem themselves. Or fall further down the pit.
Spielberg's not going to do it. There's no way. So
I don't think anybody else could do it.
Spielberg's personal assistant, Drew Dwight.
Says no.
Says no.
All right. Well, those are our favorite sequels and some of our worst ones.
Yeah.
Now we're going to kind of break down what we've been watching or gaming this past week.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm addicted to Hearthstone. This is a free-to-play iOS game made by Blizzard. It's a collectible card game. I'll definitely start playing one round, and I'll turn it into 2, 3, 5, and then I'll look up and I'll be like, my entire night's gone. So that's pretty much the only game that I played this past week.
I'm addicted to Clash of Clans, also an iOS game. It is fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's a really simple game, but it's a lot of fun. You are a Viking warrior, sort of, and you've got a clan, and you're fighting other people. They just added functionality to let clans fight each other, which is pretty fun. And probably eats up way more of my time than it should.
Drew, what are you doing these weeks?
Well, I attempted a video game. It's a couple years old now. The Last Story. It's an RPG for the Wii. Couldn't get into it. I'm just too old for the new battle systems they got going. I want turn-based battles in my RPGs, or JRPGs rather. Gave up after 10 minutes. I'm going to return it or trade it in. I did play the demo for the DS RPG.
Bravely Default.
Bravely Default. And that was more like it. I'm going to use my trade-in from the last story and get that.
All $3 they're going to give you for the last story.
Right. How much did you buy the last story for?
$30.
And that was for the Wii, not the Wii U.
Wii.
The Wii.
Yeah. I would just keep it out of like pride.
No,
I'm gonna turn that in.
It didn't live up to what I wanted.
I haven't started playing any games. Like I still play Call of Duty Ghosts on my PlayStation 4. That's it. Like I haven't tried anything new. Yeah, so that's it on gaming part. Like I don't really play anything on my phone.
You're missing out. There's lots of great stuff for your phone.
You know,
maybe
I mean, I play Flappy Bird every so often.
That game is frustrating.
My phone's
game is over. That game is over.
I deleted that game before I realized that you apparently could sell your phone for $10,000 if it has Flappy Bird on it.
You know, so for me, this week, and maybe I'm just late to the fad, which I know this was.
It's a PlayStation 4.
Yeah. Solitaire, outstanding. I'm kidding. 2048.
Spider.
2048. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's a number game. It's like a puzzle game. You just always, your whole goal of this thing is add numbers together. So you match them up, 2 numbers together, and the whole goal is to, when you match everything up together, you're trying to reach the tile that says 2048. Addicting, recommended, is for iOS.
I love brain teasers. That sounds awesome.
Addicting game. 2048. It was all over the news and everything a couple weeks ago. I was just late to it, but picked it. Got it. It's free. Outstanding. Very addicting.
I'll download it right now. Why not?
2048.
There's a game called Threes, and I wonder if 2048, and it's the exact same mechanics, and you're trying to get as many multiples of 3 as possible. So like 3, 9, 27, and so forth. And I wonder if this was kind of a reactionary, like, shovelware version of it that clicked with everybody.
I don't know, but it's fantastic.
Have you ever got to 2048?
No, so far 512 has been my largest tile so far. So yeah, it's pretty. It's intense. It's pretty difficult. Pretty intense. And I guess as far as what I'm watching, what I'm watching.
We're not going into that yet.
Yeah, we said what we're watching, what we're gaming, what we're doing this week. So what I'm watching, I keep trying to give this Silicon Valley a chance. 3rd episode, wasn't impressed. I'm not exactly sure if I'll continue giving that a break. I've been, preempted, to start watching Doctor Who.
Oh, Doctor Who's amazing.
Do it.
Which, maybe that'll be the next one, but I don't know. So that's what I'm watching.
I will say the first episode might not gel with you, but if you don't like it by like the 3rd, which I know is 3 hours, so I'm asking a lot of commitments.
Oh man.
But I got hooked on the 2nd episode.
Okay.
So, but the
Yeah,
first
the
one was
first
kind of rough.
episode we had a conversation. I was just like, "What did we just watch? What was that?" And then the 2nd episode we were hooked, and we powered through the entire season.
Ouch.
Back to back. So.
What do you got, Andy? What are you watching?
What I'm watching is a lot. Like,
oh man,
just give us the highlights.
Yes.
well,
What do you
watching,
recommend?
Like, I'm watching Mad Men, which is solid so far. Game of Thrones, I've been watching Silicon Valley. I've been watching Veep, which has also been solid so far. I've been catching up on Luther, which is something that Drew Dwight recommended to me.
Identity theft. Drew Dwight. He
Here's
lives
the
at
Social
123 Marbury Lane.
voice recognition.
Also on Hulu Plus, there are a lot more BBC shows. So Sakari and I have been watching. My wife Sakari, we've been watching this show called Pram Face, which is now on its 3rd season. And it's about 2 teenagers that have to deal with pregnancy, which now it's pretty du jour. So I've been watching those shows.
Dude, you need to get outside.
What do you got, Drew?
Me, as far as what's airing now, I think Silicon Valley's the only show I'm watching.
You're liking it.
You should watch Veep.
Edgar and I like it. Yeah, my girlfriend watches Veep. She really likes that show. I've seen a couple episodes. It's pretty funny. But what I'm into, what I'm watching, is a few years old now. Is the HBO miniseries The Pacific. And if you've seen Band of Brothers, and liked it, you'll like the Pacific. I like it a lot more. Band of Brothers, obviously because of the name, it focuses on the brotherhood of the soldiers, in battle. And that one's in Europe. This one's in the Pacific, and it's more about, it focuses a lot on propaganda of war and just like what's wrong with war and how it affects people. And I'm also really into history as of late, so I'm digging it a lot. And
Spielberg,
I think it's maybe one of the best miniseries.
Tom Hanks even touched that, isn't he?
Spielberg and Tom Hanks, same as Band of Brothers.
War. What is it good for?
Identical to Saving Private Ryan. It's
interesting.
It's great.
So I'm definitely late to the party on this one, but I'm watching Veronica Mars, and it is fantastic.
I'm intrigued.
So watched the first season pretty quickly, halfway through the second season, and really excited. Can't wait to see what happens.
And then you get a movie now.
I know, it's perfect. It's how I like to watch my media, though. I hate waiting week to week on episodes. I would much rather power through.
Yes.
Which actually brings me to the second show, which is Game of Thrones. So I was really late to the party on that and watched the first 3 seasons pretty much back to back. So going week to week on episodes has been painful, but amazing.
Good. Chris, what do you got?
Pretty much the same things. We kind of share a TV. Game of Thrones is the quickest 55 minutes of your life. I feel like anytime you start watching an episode, that end credit music starts playing, you're like, already? I wanted to run into Jon Snow or see what the dwarf is up to. And then Veronica Mars, I think, is a really great show. I definitely enjoy kind of the detective escapades. The high school drama is not really great, but I understand, it's target demographics, and unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily make up the bulk of each episode.
Where did that air? The WB?
WB, CW.
Yeah.
Well, Japan. Well, that's what we have for you this week, guys. If you have any comments or feedback for the show, love to hear from you. You can email us at nerdexp@gmail.com. If you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at ChristasticGuy.
You can follow me at Alira.
You can follow me, if you stand behind me. That's fine. Follow me.
That is the funniest thing I've
best
ever heard.
line of the night. Oh my gosh.
That is so bad. My Twitter handle is at EdgarRex, EDGAREX 86.
And I forgot mine. Don't follow me.
Well, thanks for listening. Level up, friends.